For thousands of years, the Exodus has stood as the foundational epic of three global religions. For believers, the escape of the Israelites from Egypt is a matter of historical record. However, the archaeological consensus tells a different story. Searching for evidence in the 13th century BCE, the era of Pharaoh Ramses II, leaves researchers with a void. This absence of proof suggests we are searching the wrong era. To find the Exodus, we have to look past the traditional dates and focus on a period 2 centuries earlier. By focusing on the year 1500 BCE, we arrive at the reign of Pharaoh Ahmose. Here, the physical record aligns with the biblical narrative. In the basement of the Cairo Museum lies the Tempest Stele. This 3,500-year-old monument records a catastrophic storm and a period of unnatural darkness that enveloped Egypt, using language that echoes the biblical account of the plagues. Relocating these events to 1500 BCE brings the Exodus into the realm of geological history, where the miracles of the Bible find their origin in the violent shifts of the earth. Around 1500 BCE, the Mediterranean was rocked by the eruption of the Santorini volcano. It was one of the most powerful volcanic events in human history. This eruption sent earthquake storms along tectonic fault lines that run from Greece directly through the Nile Delta. These quakes fractured the earth beneath the Nile, releasing trapped gas pockets. High concentrations of iron reached the river, reacting with oxygen to form iron hydroxide, essentially rust. The Nile turned blood red, and the water became toxic to everything inside it. As the fish died, frogs were forced onto land, where they quickly perished. Their rotting carcasses became the breeding ground for lice, flies, and the bacterial epidemics that the Bible records as the next 5 plagues. At the same time, the Santorini ash cloud reached Egypt. The sudden drop in temperature forced local locusts to land in massive numbers. In the upper atmosphere, moisture combined with hot volcanic ash to form accretionary lapilli, balls of ice and ash that fell as hail mixed with fire. The density of the ash eventually blocked the sun entirely, plunging the region into a darkness so thick it could be felt. Then came the final plague. We have seen this phenomenon in the modern world at places like Lake Nyos in Cameroon, where a sudden seismic shift released a heavy, invisible cloud of carbon dioxide from the water. In Egyptian society, firstborn males held a privileged status, sleeping on low beds close to the ground. Israelites, meanwhile, were gathered for a meal or sleeping on rooftops and in wagons. When a heavy cloud of carbon dioxide swept across the land, it clung to the earth, suffocating those in low beds, while those on higher ground were spared. The escape from Egypt hinges on a specific geographical detail, often lost in translation. The Israelites did not cross the Red Sea, but Yam Suf, the Sea of Reeds. This location corresponds to Lake El Bala, a freshwater marshland on the edge of the Nile Delta. During the seismic upheavals of 1500 BCE, the African tectonic plate shifted. The lake bed dropped, and the water drained away into side fissures, exposing a dry land bridge for the Israelites to cross. But this tectonic drawback was only half of the event. As the Egyptian army followed, the displaced water returned as a massive tsunami, sweeping across the delta and engulfing the charioteers. The biblical parting of the sea matches the physical signature of a tectonic drawback followed by a seismic wave. Evidence of this escape exists outside of Egypt as well. Survivors who fled the devastation carried the story across the Mediterranean to ancient Greece. In 1876, the archaeologist Heinrich Schliemann began excavating the site of Mycenae. He discovered tombs containing Egyptian gold and artifacts that date exactly to 1500 BCE, the same era as Pharaoh Ahmose and the Santorini eruption. Marking these graves were stone stelae featuring carvings that have puzzled researchers for decades. When viewed together, they appear to depict a sequential story. Frame 1 shows an Egyptian charioteer in pursuit of a man with a staff. Frame 2 shows the water gathering into massive whirlpools. And frame 3 shows the horses and chariot being completely overturned by the waves. When the timeline is corrected, the disparate evidence from Egyptian monuments, tectonic data, and Greek tombs unites into a single history. Identifying the geological mechanics behind the plagues does not diminish the event. Instead, the Exodus becomes a documented chapter of human survival, grounded in the violent history of the earth.